As we head into March Madness, the men's and women's basketball seasons have both come to a close.
While spring sports are really in the meat of their seasons with important games and tournaments in the coming weeks. We'll take a look.
Yes, and Temple rowing is one of those sports. Later in the show, I'll introduce you to Temple's rowing captains and explain why this season is looking a bit different.
And I'm Grace Giordano, live in TV Studio 3, where we will meet lacrosse team's starting goalie. To call her a student athlete would mean leaving out one of her most important jobs. OwlSports Update is live, and it starts right now.
Hello and welcome to another edition of OwlSports Update. I'm Natalie Koranda.
And I'm Jackson Batchler. We'll be covering 6 different sports today, but we're starting off with men's hoops and a season that has come to an end a bit too soon.
Temple men's basketball season ended exactly 1 week ago, so let's take a look back on the Owls' second season under head coach Adam Fisher. Temple ended its season with a 17-15 overall record and went 9-9 in conference play. Despite its mediocre record, Temple was 12-2 at home. The Owls really took a hit when star player Jamal Mashburn went down with a leg injury, prompting a 6-game losing streak towards the end of conference play. The Owls season ultimately came to an end when they took on Tulsa in the second round of the AAC tournament in Fort Worth, Texas. This early exit was a much different storyline compared with last season when the Owls made it to the conference finals, just 1 game away from the NCAA tournament.
I think we played hard and physical. Look, it's something we've done all season long, right? We missed 11 free throws. I think we're top 5 in the country in getting to the foul line. So we have to, we did what we wanted. We just had to make the ones when we got there. And you're not going to make all 35, but you hope to make a little bit better percentage. And then defensively for us, again, we had to manage some fouls. But again, great credit to them. They were the tougher team in that second half.
Joining us at the desk is Courts in Session anchor Pat Dallahan to break down what happened in the Owls' final game against Tulsa and give his thoughts on what the future is looking like going forward for the Cherry and White. Hey, Pat.
Hey, guys.
Pat, thanks so much for joining us. So Adam Fisher mentioned the 11 missed free throws in the post-game conference. Would you consider the free throws to be the main reason for the loss?
Well, it's not really fair to, pin one thing as the reason for a loss, unless it's a turnover at the end of the game. But foul shots, are something that happen throughout the game, and their struggles with them have happened all season long, earlier in the year against Florida State and Boston College. And even in their best win of the year against Memphis, they went 21 of 34 from the foul line. So foul shooting was something that plagued them all season long, and it ended up catching up to them in the playoffs.
Pat, obviously the Owls blew this 12-point first-half lead a week ago in that matchup against Tulsa, but what really went on in this Owls collapse in the postseason?
Well, everything that happened in the first half of that game against Tulsa didn't happen in the second half. They didn't pass the ball at all. It was a lot of ISO basketball. It was give one person the ball and get out of the way. When the ball is moving like it was in the first half, they had 8 assists. That's one of their highest marks all year in one half of basketball. When the ball isn't moving, the offense doesn't move. So they needed to keep the ball moving, and they didn't, and that's why they're home right now.
The Owls will be losing 5 seniors. Among the players on that list are some very notable names such as Mashburn and Steve Settle III. There is also Shane Dezzoni and Matteo Piccarelli. Mashburn was the Owls' leading scorer, averaging 22 points per game. As for Settle, Dezzoni, and Piccarelli, they were large parts of Mashburn's supporting cast, all averaging at least 10 minutes per game. That's a lot of leadership and lots of scoring coming off the board, and we don't know yet who might jump into the portal as well. Pat, are there any shoes that can be filled by the portal? It's hard to imagine any freshman coming in and filling this void left by Mashburn.
Well, right. You've seen coaches throughout college basketball like Rick Pitino flat out say that we're not recruiting freshmen right now. It doesn't make any sense. They can't come in and fill those roles. But the most important player in the offseason right now, in the transfer portal or on Temple's roster, is Zion Stanford. He's a very similar type of scorer to Jamal Mashburn, works very heavily in the mid-range, just like Mashburn. Over a third of his shots come from that area. So they need to keep him and focus on keeping some of the younger players like Baba Duradola and Aiden Tobiasen.
Now, Pat, how would you grade Fisher in this second season? The Owls finished with a better record, but once again, they got bounced early in the postseason, something that was a major factor in letting Aaron McKee go. Yeah,
Adam Fisher had a ton working against him this year. A lot of injuries, suspensions early in the season, and one mid-season suspension. I would say a B- or a B. Now, they showed flashes of brilliance against Memphis and beating North Texas to end the year, but at the same time, you lose 6 games in a row. Granted, there was tons of injuries to Steve Settle, Quante Berry. Jamal Mashburn, notably, missed almost the entire year, only played 1 game in that 6-game losing streak. But I'd say a B or a B-, and there's plenty to build off of going forward here on Broad and Montgomery.
Well, Pat, that's all the time we have for you today. Thank you for spending it with us.
Thanks so much for having me on.
You can catch Pat again on Tuesday as he'll be a part of a special broadcast that we have on tap.
Yes, this special is called Built on Broad, 2,000 Wins and Counting. Most remember earlier this season, the Owls joining the 2,000 win club in a win over Davidson.
Our senior producer, Kylie Haberstroh, has been working hard all semester making a 30-minute special commemorating the special win and this special program. Take a look.
I mean, you can't talk about Philadelphia without talking about Temple basketball.
We don't have to create history. It's not our job. Our job is to continue the legacy.
I believe in the mission of Temple. I think it's extraordinarily important for Philadelphia.
This is 2,000 wins in the making, and for our crew at OwlSports Update, we've been working on this special dating back to last fall.
And there's one person who got the ball rolling. Our senior producer, Kylie Haberstroh, created this special called Built on Broad, 2,000 Wins and Counting. She now joins us at the desk. Hey, Kylie, thanks for joining us.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
So, Kylie, what can our viewers expect to see in this special?
Yeah, so obviously with Temple and Temple basketball, there's a ton of history with hitting this 2,000 win milestone. So we went back in time to find archival footage along with photos. We were able to sit down with former and current coaches, Fran Dunphy, Adam Fisher, Chris Clark, along with talking to a lot of past and current players. And we were able to go to the 2,000 win celebration on February 1st. So there's a ton of different elements and a ton of stuff to look forward to.
And Kylie, what was your experience like in looking for this archival footage?
Yeah, so it was pretty difficult, to be honest. We wanted to go all the way back to 1938 with the Owls' first NIT win. We looked through a lot of footage. We were able to get a ton of help from the Temple Library's Special Collection Center, and they were able to help us find a bunch of good photos and footage to use.
Finally, we saw the promo, but tell us again, where, when, and how can we watch it?
It's going to be airing live on Tuesday, March 25th at noon.
Thank you so much for joining us, Kylie. Again, you can catch the premiere of Built on Broad, 2,000 Wins and Counting next Tuesday at noon on TUTV. You will see plenty of familiar faces of our talented team, including myself, as I will be your host on the anchor desk. Thanks, Kylie.
Of course, thank you.
To football, where the Owls are doing everything they can in a short period of time to get better under new head coach Casey Keeler. There are many areas of focus for a team that's finished 3-9 for the last 3 years. OwlSports Update's Jackson Bertavich takes a look at one area on the offensive side of the ball.
New leaders and a new focus on some of the past issues for Temple football. At the end of last season, Temple found itself at the very bottom of the AAC offensively. That's one of the main reasons new coach Casey Keeler and his offensive staff are focusing on this side of the ball in spring practices. Keeler brought in 2 proven offensive minds, Tyler Walker and Al Johnson, both coached together in leading Montana State to a 15-1 record this past season.
Well, we're in run football. We're on multiple offense. We're going to find different ways, formations, motions, shifts to create an advantage in the run game. That's first and foremost.
The offensive staff may be full of new faces, but the Owls' offense could very well be led by a familiar face. Redshirt senior Evan Simon is in position to take on the role of starting quarterback, the sole reason he came back to Temple after the coaching change.
Every quarterback has a skill set, every quarterback has limitations, so we're going to do whatever we can to put Evan in a situation to be successful. And if that's not running the ball as much, that's probably what it is.
Practices will continue here on 10th and Diamond 3 times a week for the next month as the team prepares for their first season under new head coach K.C. Keeler. The Owls have been focused on using these spring practices to teach and get familiar with one another as the season approaches.
Now, we're not even close to being where we need to get to, but it's really encouraging to see that progress happening. And there's some good young players there. There really are.
At Edberg Olson Hall, I'm Jack Zebertavage, OwlSports Update.
Thanks, Jack. It's time for our first break of the day, but there's still plenty to cover.
On the other side, it's all things lacrosse, from the team's most recent matchup in Florida to my semester-long series, Trippin' with Natalie. See you in a minute 30. The lacrosse team traveled to the Sunshine State for a conference matchup against the USF Bulls over the weekend. The Owls took control within the first 3 minutes as Emily Liberio finds the net. This was her 6th of the season. In the middle of the first, the score tied. Erin King gets it to Sarah Gauman coming from the arc and puts in her 8th of the season. In the second, USF coming back, now up by 3. Collie Clearly takes a shot from the 8 and gets it past Taylor Brolman. Moving into the fourth, the score now 12-8. The Owls with a player down in a penalty situation. USF's Sophia Chepnik finds the net. This was her 30th of the season. The Owls were sent packing back to North Broad. The final score, 15-9.
As if being a student athlete wasn't hard enough, lacrosse goalie Taylor Grolman is involved in another activity that gets her up when most of her teammates are still asleep. Owl Sports Update's Grace Giordano is live at the studio set to take a look. Hey, Grace.
Thanks, guys. The women's lacrosse season is underway, and senior goalie Taylor Grolman is taking in every moment of her last season on the field. On top of lacrosse, she balances ROTC training and academics as a part of her daily routine. Weekday classes, daily practices, along with games that cut hours out of the day. And now add in 6 a.m. ROTC training 3 days a week. Temple lacrosse goalie Taylor Grolman is always in motion.
Yeah, it can be a lot sometimes for sure, but I think one thing that sports growing up has taught me is great time management.
Grolman is one of Temple's top players. Last season, she was an all-conference selection in goal, and now she's in charge of a very young defense that's continuing to grow into the college game.
I give all the credit to the defense in front of me because I couldn't do without them. They make every save possible.
Yeah, she is one of the best. Always there for you to talk about anything, whether it's school, lacrosse, friendship. She's always there for us, so she's awesome.
Taylor has been kind of a go-to player for us in the goal cage for years now. Her leadership comes in so many different ways.
From protecting the goal to protecting our country, Taylor also serves as a part of Temple's Army ROTC.
So I knew that joining the military in some way, shape, or form was something I wanted to do, give back and make a difference like so much of my family has.
Her family tree includes many relatives in the armed forces, such as the Navy.
Most of my family was in the military, and they just kind of inspired me getting to listen to their stories.
Taylor has about 1 more month of college lacrosse left. But the future is bright as she will be reporting to flight school for the Army in early July. This is Grolman's 3rd and final year as a starter. Last season, she ranked top 20 nationally in goals against and in save percentage. From the studio set, I'm Grace Giordano. Natalie and Jackson, back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Grace. The Owls have an unusual Thursday night game starting at 7 in New Brunswick versus Rutgers. The Owls are trying to get back into the win column as they are 2-6 overall and just 1-4 on the road. Meanwhile, the Scarlet Knights are 6-3 and 3-1 at SHI Stadium. You can stream this matchup live on Big Ten Plus.
As the season continues, Trippin' with Natalie does too. 1 week from today, I'll show you the 3rd installment of my semester-long series as I continue to take you to places you've likely never seen before with the team. This 3rd part includes a birthday party for Ryder Heckman, who joined the team through the Friends of Jacqueline Foundation.
Thank you so much for having us. Temple Lacrosse meant so much to Ryan. Last brain surgery was last February, and he was playing lacrosse a month later.
We are up against break number 2, but don't go anywhere.
Coming up, we'll take a look at gymnastics' latest meet, and OwlSports Update's Haley Smith takes us on the Schuylkill.
See you in 90 seconds. Welcome back to OwlSports Update. The gymnastics team closed out its regular season at the Nebraska Quad Meet. The Owls finished 4th with a final score of 194.550 with the standout performances from Brooke Donabedian, Renee Shugman, and Kristen Johnson. The team's best performance was seen on floor with a combined score of 49.
The East Atlantic Gymnastics League, or EAGL, championships are coming up, and Temple will host for the first time since its inauguration in 2021. The Owls are hosting 4 other teams in this one-day championship, and OwlSports Update's Nick Parr previews the upcoming event.
The EAGL Championships is one of the biggest gymnastics tournaments of the collegiate gymnastics season. And Temple is hosting this year's tournament for the first time ever.
Obviously, it's really exciting that we get to host it in Newport, so it's building even more hype for us.
5 teams will compete in this one-day event. For Temple, it's a chance to end the season strong after a regular season that saw mixed results. The Owls are 11-18 on the year.
We're excited to see our full potential, and I think we're just gearing up to peak at just the right time.
Temple will host 4 other teams at the EAGL Championships. As of right now, they stand in 4th place in the league. This event being held at the Leocore Center just adds that much more pressure to perform in front of their home crowd.
Those competitors include New Hampshire, George Washington, Towson, and Long Island University. Temple sits in 4th place in the 5-team league, but if you remember back in 2021, the Owls won the EAGL title after finishing the regular season in 4th place.
We're getting the scores that we want, and then we see that improvement, and that just gives us the confidence to keep doing it.
Temple will host these championships on Saturday, starting at 5 o'clock. Reporting from McGonigal Hall, I'm Nick Parr, OwlSports Update.
Thanks, Nick. Here's a look at this home event for your calendar. At the Leocore Center this Saturday, in its 5-year existence, this will be the first time that the event will be held on North Broad. The event will begin at 5 p.m. and participating teams include New Hampshire, George Washington, Towson, and Long Island University.
It's now time to switch gears from the mat to the river and from an evening event to practices at the break of dawn.
OwlSports Update's Haley Smith is live from Boathouse Row, giving us a look at 2 of the team leaders on the women's rowing team from the water. Hey, Haley.
Hey guys, Temple's rowing team is preparing for their season opener next weekend. And with that, they're looking forward to some new experiences in at least one old competition. Alex Catalano and Neve Healy know the Schuylkill River better than most. The 2 are captains of Temple's women's rowing team, so getting on the water at sunrise is their daily routine. But both are hoping this season looks a bit different. The Owls will compete in the Dadvale Regatta this spring for the first time in 3 years, and the program is getting ready to be a full-time member of the Mid-Atlantic Conference starting next season.
I'm more excited about this season than I have been in a long time.
Goals is to win Dadvales. End goal, all goal, and then next year setting up everyone so we're ready for our MAC championship.
And these captains are no stranger to the water. With almost 20 years of rowing combined, they bring experience to the team that can't be learned overnight.
The mindset that every day is race day, like putting in 100% effort when you're here and just staying focused when you're at practice is just really important.
The boat has a short-term memory, so maybe just like if the start of the race isn't going well or the middle, there's always time to make it up and to just stay hopeful and calm.
Their focus isn't just on this season. Both captains are doing their best to lay down a foundation for the future in an effort to keep the team and this sport relevant long after they graduate.
I'm probably gonna cry at the end, but ending it with a bang and like being remembered and creating a lot of legacy here at Temple it means a lot.
The Owls have 6 races left before the Dadvale Regatta, with trips to Massachusetts, Michigan, and Virginia. The Owls will compete in the Doc Jose Invitational next Saturday in New Jersey, where they plan to set a tone for the rest of their season. I'm Haley Smith, live at the Temple Boathouse. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Haley. It's time to step aside for one last time, but stay in your seats.
When we return, we'll dive into club sports and break down the weekend calendar. See you on the other side.
Welcome back. Former players coming back to coach their alma mater is not out of the ordinary, but a trio coming back to the sidelines is something you usually don't see, especially at the club level. OwlSports Update's James Urban takes a look at the men's lacrosse team.
It's not often you see former players coming back to coach the team they once played for. Former Temple Club lacrosse players Hunter Clements, Nick Sowers, and Tim Davis all decided to come back to Temple, but with a move to the sidelines. The young coaching trio graduated just 3 years ago. Clements has taken on the head coaching role, Sowers at defensive coordinator, and Davis at goalies coach.
Kind of when I came in as a freshman, I played with all these kids, and from there, we kind of looked up to them. They always held leadership roles.
Since their start in the 1980s, Temple Club Lacrosse has built a strong culture over the years.
As soon as I took over, one of the biggest things I was pushing for was keeping that Temple culture.
But Coach Clements and Sowers knew each other well before their time at Temple.
Me and Nick, we went to Washington College together first.
Once arriving at Temple, they were roommates and teammates with Davis, which ultimately led to the coaching trio.
Yeah, so we have some pretty high expectations for the guys. Based on where I saw the potential of our team when I was a player, I'm now trying to enact on some of those things that I envisioned.
The team has increased its number of practices from its usual 2 to 3 or 4 times per week, while also implementing weekly team lifts followed by a film session.
I just immediately felt, the coaches were taking this program really seriously.
The coaching impact is starting to show results. A 3-1 start to the season with victories over New Hampshire and Syracuse. The coaching trio need to have the Owls at their best this weekend when the team takes a road trip south to take on major schools such as Kentucky and Alabama. Reporting from the Aramark Star Complex, I'm James Urban, OwlSports Update.
Let's take a look at the weekend calendar. To start it off, fencing's Anna Novoseltseva is representing the team in University Park for the NCAA Championships. On Saturday, women's tennis is away at Penn, and women's track is there as well for the Penn Challenge. Gymnastics holds the EAGL meet at the Liacouras Center. Lastly, on Sunday, women's and men's teams are both away at Villanova and Navy, respectively.
As we take a look at our show schedule for next week, we kick things off on Monday with our sports brief on our social platforms. On Tuesday, our basketball special, Built on Broad, will air live at noon on TUTV. And on Thursday, Sarah Winton and Sam Cavone will be back on the desk, also live on TUTV at noon.
That is all the time we have for this edition of OwlSports Update.
We are now more than halfway through the spring semester. From TV Studio 3, she's Natalie Koranda, and I'm Jackson Batchler. Have a safe and enjoyable weekend, and go Owls!